All right, good morning, Wasteland. It is the time of the week where I read you the patch notes. We are getting some testing and some mass testing coming down the pipe. You can actually jump on this particular server if you'd like. You will have to make a different game client. I don't have the time to do that, but what I can do is run through the buffs and nerfs coming down the pipe, and I think you guys are going to be pleasantly surprised. So let's get to it. So, new features from the dev blog are not final. They always say this. Look, they might tweak them later, but they're pretty good track record about following through with most of the stuff they say they're going to do. Unless, for some reason, there's a big hoorah after mass testing. They usually do these. They usually follow through. They usually hit these up on a Thursday as well. So any automatic shotgun, the reticle is now going to show the spread of the weapon. So you're going to get a more adjustable reticle when shooting, which is nice. They've changed the format of the pellet spread from square to rectangular, so now it corresponds better with the scope. I guess that's nice. Now, turning the weapon doesn't increase spread, so that's a little bit of a buff to the shotgun or any of the ones on a rotation. Maximum firing range has been reduced from 100 to 60 meters. That's a 40% nerf to range, and that's on all automatic shotguns. So I know the devs have been listening, that there's been a lot of cry that shotgun wedges are kind of the main way to go. So here's what they say. We would like to improve the experience when playing with shotguns. The dynamic sight will allow you to control the spread and target vulnerable parts on enemies. The lack of spread from weapon rotation will encourage maneuverable close combat. On the other hand, maximum firing range of shotguns has been significantly decreased. Yeah, they're going to have way less range. That's a buff to cannons in a big way, guys. Now shotguns no longer compete with weapons designed for medium range firing, and that corresponds to what their role should be. So I think that's a solid change, but we'll have to wait until it plays out. So melee weapons are going to get some user interface tweaks. You'll be able to see the damage zone displayed in assembly mode. And you can no longer mount other parts in the area that deals damage. Crossing the area with other parts is not allowed. Basically, there was a bug with borers where you could mount like a shiv or a melee over it. And so skilled builders could calculate armor and ramp their vehicle in order to maximize the potential of melee weapons. They've essentially fixed the hitbox is what they've done. Okay, they've done some changes for all cabins, and this is kind of something I've been asking for, in that, maybe we needed a cabin with a built-in car jack. Well, what they did is they essentially buffed the car jack. No longer do you have to wait 30 seconds. You've only got to wait 20 seconds. So less of us are going to just get flipped by wedges and be sitting there forever going, this sucks. So it sounds like the boys at Gaijin have heard us when we said we're tired of shotgun wedges. Does this fix the problem? No. But can they make a whole new game engine and change the physics? No, they can't, guys. But they are working at it. They are trying. All right, weapon tweaks. Special rarity. Emily. Projectile explosion radius increased by 7%. Projectile speed increased 33%. Emily gets a buff. All right, this weapon was difficult to use. People really weren't using it. Okay, the Pyramid rocket launcher. Perk bonus increase from 12 to 15%. Pretty negligible, but they're increasing the perk from 5 seconds to 8 seconds. It was kind of a wimpy weapon, bit of a buff. The median autocannon gets a 1% speed buff, which with projectiles for long range, it's not much, but it's a little bit. Not much. 17% would be noticeable. The Summiter, as the shot is charged, the weapon's rotation speed will increase. So hopefully that'll make it better for close combat. The explosion radius on the boom is nerfed by 10%, so your boomsticks just got a nerf. On to the purples, epics. Elephant. Perk duration increase from 3 seconds to 4 seconds, so a little buff to cannons. Now with skillful shooting, you'll be able to constantly keep this perk up if you keep landing shots. Okay, the drone, the Yao Guai, durability increase up by about 25% from 173 to 223. Length of the first drone burst when attacking is always equal to the duration of the perk. Drone activation and targeting times have been significantly reduced, so a solid buff to that particular drone. They will simplify the game using drones perk and create overall better efficiency is what they're talking about. Next up, the grenade launcher, the Thresher. Getting a fat buff with a projectile speed increase of 1/3, a maximum spread reduction of 17%. So like the Emily, just wasn't great. Okay, on to the Quasar. The cannon now reloads half a second faster. So not huge, but a little bit of a buff. The nail gun, the Argument, gets a damage buff of 8%. As the shot is charged, it also gets a buff to rotation speed, similar to the Summoner. Next up, we're talking about the favorite. The cabin's perk still prevents the heating of mounted weapons and modules, but now the duration of the heating stop depends on the minimum heating time among all weapons mounted on the vehicle. The longer the minimum heating time, the longer the bonus lasts. Well, this was really good with a lot of weapons because basically you could stop your build from overheating, and then they nerfed the favorite really hard because there were some ridiculous Gravistar builds I was running there for a while. And they say, here's what the devs say, it's no secret the favorite was often used as a cabin for shotguns. We agree it should be more versatile. Changing the mechanics of the perk will expand the list of weapons that can be used effectively with it. I'm still a bit confused on how they changed it, but we'll have to wait and see. Legendary part tweaks. The AC-80 Stillwind gets a perk buff from 2 seconds to 3 seconds. The Mandrake now takes 1 less point of energy. That's kind of interesting. That might really change up things for Drakes. We'll see. Here's what the devs say. Unfortunately, Mandrakes are already underwhelmingly inefficient, and they've suffered more since the introduction of reload acceleration modules. The high energy consumption of the weapon made it impossible to assemble an effective vehicle with the Mandrake. So they think reducing the energy consumption will not only allow you to combine the weapons, but also make it possible to create an assembly based on a heavy cabin. So you can put Drakes on a heavy cabin, I guess. We'll see. It's something. Next up, the cabin, the Machinist. Now the bonus to weapon durability doesn't depend on the current vehicle's durability. It's now determined once at the beginning of the battle and no longer changes. So essentially they just fixed the perk for the Machinist. The one you've all been waiting for. We finally get a nerf to the parser. Big one too. Reload time increased from 2 seconds to 2.6 seconds. So over 25% nerf to reload time. Maximum range decreased by 25%. And optimal firing range dinged 20%. And here's what the devs say. They went off and wrote quite a bit on this one. I should read it in a Russian accent. No, I should not. Maybe I should. No. Yeah, okay, we're going to. Parser is an extremely powerful weapon. We have tried to reduce its efficiency and, if possible, preserve its uniqueness. As noted by many, its firing range was too great for a shotgun, albeit a versatile one. So, it became main focus of changes. Separately, we would like to note that work on new unique feature of the breaker shotgun is also in progress, but I cannot tell you, comrade. It's super secret. We will tell you in later update. Devs, I love you guys. I'm just teasing. Mrs. G is like, you've got to stop using that terrible accent. Look, I lived in Kazakhstan 2 years. It's the only thing I got was a bad Russian accent. So don't judge me. If you want to get to the test server, you can check it out. I'll put the link down below in the description. Please don't overwrite your regular game because you're going to be upset. You're going to want to install it in a new folder. Call it public test or mass test so you don't overwrite your regular game because you'll be bummed and you'll have to reinstall. Okay? So just make sure you're making a duplicate folder. I have a duplicate shortcut. You can see mine. I'll show you my desktop. There it is. I got Crossout regular, public test, and then my fancy PR test, which the devs hardly ever use anymore. But that one's got some super secret stuff in there. You guys can't see that one. It's too secret. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Be good. Mr. G out.